This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Welcome to It's a Doggy Dog World. I'm your host, Liz Palika, with my good friends Petra Burke.
Hello.
And Kate Abbott.
How do?
And today we're going to talk about dog training, but not talking about specific issues. We're going to talk about how to do dog training, like group classes. In a previous podcast, we talked about private one-on-one training. And in a future podcast, we're going to talk about boarding-in training. Group classes are probably one of the most common ways of doing training and one of the most affordable. But every training type has pros and cons. So we're going to talk about what group classes are, how they work, what can be covered in a group class, maybe what isn't covered in a group class traditionally, what owners' expectations might be, and then, of course, we have to cover before we let you go, we have to cover owner responsibility. What's your job during and after a group class? So let's take it from there. So first of all, a group class is a group. But what is a group class?
Well, as I think I've said this a million times. It's become a statement. A group class is a chance to work and teach your puppy dog around distractions, which is the reason for a group class and the frustration of attending a group class.
But it's like a controlled...
It's a controlled distraction.
Distraction, right.
As opposed to working out in public where somebody might let their dog run up to yours.
Exactly.
Things will happen. But it can be frustrating. A lot depends on how well the class is run. I said, we do a really good job at it, but still...
Well, classes develop their own personality.
Oh boy, do they!
Right?
They really do. It's amazing. It's almost.
I can understand teachers. If you ever talk to teachers, elementary school or whatever, they say the same thing. My brother's a teacher, and it's true there too. A class develops a personality.
There have been times when we've had a group class graduate after meeting with them for a month and a half and go, oh, I'm going to miss them.
Yeah.
And then we've had other classes graduate when we've gone, oh, thank you.
We're just glad we got through it without bloodshed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But something else about the group class that I've often told, even the whole group, is think of the group class also as group therapy.
Yes.
Because if you have a question, ask it, because somebody else in class has that question too.
Yeah.
If you're having a problem during the week, tell us about it so that we can talk about it with the whole class. If you want to talk with another class member after class out in the parking lot, that's absolutely fine. Talk about it because this is a shared experience.
The funny part is talking about group therapy. Also, there has been relationships developed. Friendships develop from our classes that still get together and a couple years later and their dogs still have play dates and they're going to dinner and literally friendships have developed.
Yeah.
Shared common goals.
Yeah.
So the group is usually a number of dogs and their owners, and the number can vary. We generally have 3 to 4, sometimes 5 trainers with a group class. Some trainers have 1 trainer in a group class. And so that will affect how many students can be in the group. And in this era of COVID, we're recording this during COVID, there are fewer, at least with us, with Kindred Spirits, there's fewer students in the class because we have to have social distancing. But
change.
Yeah, it's a big change. But a number of dogs and students per trainer will vary. Ideally, you'd like there to be maybe 3, 4, 5 students per trainer. Not much more than that, because then you're not going to get a lot of personal attention. If you only have 1 trainer handling an entire group class that's a number of dogs and people, that trainer will be teaching the group, but not individuals. If you can have, while you're looking at group classes, if there are a few more trainers teaching, assisting, then there's more one-on-one attention.
It's part of our structure is to give them the theory, demonstrate, and then have them practice so that we do have hands-on time to walk around and make little adjustments with each owner and dog pair.
And when there is 3 or 4 of us, it makes it much easier.
It's also kind of fun to have that shared group purpose. Okay, so puppy classes. I mean, the puppies are adorable. And puppy stories, and there's nothing like another puppy owner to listen with big eyes to your puppy's story.
My puppy's a piranha. My gosh, his teeth are like, and somebody else is going, mine too. Uh-huh. And then the trainer hears this discussion and goes, okay, let's talk about that.
That's exactly.
And you know that your puppy being a piranha does not mean that he's a bad puppy.
Right.
Exactly.
Your puppy is to different degrees, so takes some of the worry off that my puppy is defective. Oh my God.
Or right now, the most common over here, and I think now more of them are talking to each other, so they know majority of puppies are as distractions.
Yeah.
So many all of a sudden are like, oh, my puppy's so distracted when we come here, and all of a sudden you're going to say, well, so is mine. Well, so is mine. I'm like,
that's normal.
Well, with COVID,
we talk about it.
With COVID. And if you're listening to this podcast a couple years from now, remember back to COVID, we've got more puppies who are being raised at home with less socialization away from the home. Yes. Mm-hmm. And that makes a difference.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference. The other thing, the basic obedience classes, we get more young dogs, older puppies, young dogs, young adults who are teenagers.
One of the most common questions at the end of graduating from puppy is, when should we start the next level of classes, what we call basic? I said, well, you have 2 things. Some people like to just immediately jump right in and keep it going. Others like to wait until their puppies turn into teenagers, because then they know they will need the support of a village around them to help them get through the most trying time of the puppy's life.
And adolescence is trying.
Definitely trying.
Petra and I
backup for that.
Petra and I have sisters, and talk about the lack of socializations. When we got our first stay-at-home order here in California, Petra's puppy and my puppy were 8 months old.
Yes.
I would never, ever recommend social isolation for an 8-month-old teenager.
Yeah.
And so I had to be inventive. If we can't go out in public, we couldn't do a group class at that time. Kindred Spirits was shut down.
Yeah.
How am I going to get this teenager safely out and about? Mm-hmm. So I walked my neighborhood with mask and stood 6 feet away from people and hollered across the street at neighbors, but got her out and about.
Yeah, I would take her to Lowe's or Home Depot.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you know those stores.
Yeah.
I love when people in the puppy class exchange names and numbers with each other.
Yeah.
And take puppies over to each other's house.
It.
Absolutely.
If we've seen puppies and puppies play nicely together, we've said, you two can see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not that we're playing matchmaker, but only with the puppies.
Yeah, matchmakers with puppies.
With the puppies.
Well, if the other happens too, well, that's fine.
Yeah, that's it.
So let's talk about how a group class works. Now, we can speak from Kindred Spirits examples, but I'm sure many other group classes work similarly. Mm-hmm. We give instruction and examples, and often we give examples, since all of us live with dogs, we give examples from our own dogs, to make it real.
And relevant.
Relevant. Trainers' dogs go through the same things that students' dogs do.
Right now, our adolescent lecture works really well because we've got one in it, coming out of it finally. But yes, we try to make it real.
And then we also use our dogs as demonstration dogs to show the process and the end goal. And then we freely admit that the trainers' dogs make it look easy. Mm-hmm. So very often, depending on the exercise, one of the trainers will take a student dog. Mm-hmm.
And show introducing a dog to a new idea. Mm-hmm. And the differences, helping them through it.
Should a dog have a problem, this is how you're going to work through it. And many times we'll ask, if we're working on the stay, who in class has a dog who can't hold still?
Yeah.
We're not going to take the best dog in class, the calmest dog in class, to demonstrate that. We'll pick out a wiggle worm.
Yep.
so we can work through it.
Yep.
And if we're talking about a problem behavior, like no jump, we're not going to take a dog who never jumps on people. We'll take a dog who does jump on people.
And that's probably the best topic because people most volunteer their dogs. Who jumps? You've got like 98% of the class raise their hands.
Oh, there's two things. First of all, it's not done during the first week, because in the first week, if we ask to borrow people's dogs,
everybody's
they clutch
protective.
their leash.
Yeah. Second week, they're almost giving them up.
Yeah. By the time we get around to no jump on 3, they're like, here!
Take mine.
Yeah.
Take mine, and then they're disappointed if their dog isn't chosen.
Can you take mine next time?
And that's really sad when we take them, and just by touching the leash, the dog doesn't jump.
Yeah.
Then they're like, what? How do you do that?
How come he doesn't jump on you?
I gave him the look. Yeah.
And then depending on the subject matter we're talking about, we have them come away from the chairs and the benches and practice.
Yeah.
And that's when having several trainers works, because then they go around the class and everybody gets a little coaching if they need it. Or we like to give praise to the owners too, not just praise the dogs, but praise the owners. Good owner, yeah, awesome job.
Yep.
Cookie.
I've been known to good owner, owner.
Yeah. And then we'll call them all together and start doing
and having the whole
together.
class work together.
Yeah, which is nice because, one of our goals is like the stays. We start short and sweet, but by the end, at the end of the whole sessions, we like to a little more distance, a little more time, and doing it as a whole class is nice.
And that's where I get to have fun.
Yes, and then this is Kate's favorite. So I don't know how many other training classes do this, but Kate's favorite thing to do during our classes is
distractions.
Week 4, if the dogs are learning a lot of self-control, week 4, Kate will start distractions.
If it's a really good class, she's starting earlier.
if the class has got some issues with self-control, maybe it'll wait till week 5.
You gotta read the class.
But definitely by week 5, she has a whole variety of things. Duck calls and squeakers and
harmonica and your little fake dog on the leash.
Oh, that's
animatronic toys.
That one gets the most reaction from at least one dog.
It's one of those silly little, leash toys. You push one button and the dog walks forward. You push the second button, the dog sits back and goes eep eep eep. Well, there was a dog wanted to eat it the other night, but it was holding the stay, and. I'm reading the puppy dogs as to who I can push a little bit further, a little bit closer with the toy, and others. I'm like, okay, you did 2 seconds. Let's move on. Because I do want them to succeed.
That's one of our mottos, is set the dog up to succeed.
Yes.
They're going to make enough mistakes on their own. Let's set them up to succeed.
And
we have a lot of mantras.
It's great when the whole class is working and everybody's got their dog sitting still and then I come and screw it up.
For a moment there, though, we tried to say, okay, now look around. Everybody is holding a sit stay. You see, prior to COVID, you would see smiles on their faces. Now you can see their eyes squinting, so
I miss smiles.
I do too.
I miss smiles. I was thinking that at the store the other day. And this will shock some people, I know. I generally like to say hi if I'm walking the opposite direction from someone. Or minimum, at least smile. I miss smiles.
Yeah.
But, all right, let's talk about what can be covered in a class. I know years ago, before I started teaching classes, when I went to a dog training class with my first German Shepherd, all we covered were what were considered the novice obedience exercises. Sit, down, stay, come, heel, just the basic stay, the basic exercises. But with our classes, we've evolved. We give them a full-blown education on lots of stuff.
The whole philosophy of problem solving, prevent, interrupt, redirect.
Well, we start with the philosophy of training.
Yeah, exactly. What is our style?
Yeah, and teach the people how to teach their dogs, to explain how to do that.
A lot of different styles out there.
Mm-hmm.
And
if they've gone to training somewhere else and are now coming to us, what to do if they're confused, if we're doing something different, if they prefer to do the way they first learned, which usually they don't. They're usually coming to us because they're having a problem with that style. But, if they want to incorporate various styles.
Gosh, we go problem solving from jumping and mouthing and barking to having fun with brain games.
Yeah.
We talk about body handling.
We talk a little bit about food dangers these days.
Muzzling. We teach you how to muzzle a dog. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever run into another trainer, and there very well could be some, but I haven't met them at this point, that taught muzzling in class. But we did it. We started doing it after one of my dogs had a bad accident, pulled some toenails out.
Yeah.
When muzzling was so important.
To be able to treat him safely.
Yeah.
And through part of his recovery, too.
Oh, yeah.
I say sometimes it's nicer to wear a muzzle than have that cone.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Where they're whacking into doorways.
Uh-huh.
The back of my legs. Yeah.
And I couldn't put the inflatable one on him because his body was so long that he could reach every part of him with the inflatable one. Sometimes
it's hard in a group class because we are teaching to the general idea.
Right.
And so if someone's got a specific issue, sometimes we can listen and deal with it in class, and sometimes we have to say, this is just not appropriate to take up the time right now.
Right. Let's take a break at that right for the moment.
Okay.
So we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hey there. So we have a new sponsor with an interesting, wonderful product. The product is called Daily Dose, and it's a dental treat for your puppy dog. So it's designed to help clean their teeth and the ingredients in it, as well as the structure of it. But the added bit to this is that you can choose whether it's a dental treat that also supports skin health, or a dental treat that does heart health, or joint health, or a dental treat that also is calming for your puppy dog. Developed by vets to be simple to use, simple and effective, one a day, and you can choose the additional benefits for your dog in addition to teeth health.
For $3 off your order, visit yourpetsdailydose.com and use promo code DOGWORLD.
One chew a day for a happier, healthier dog and a long life.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back. We're talking right now about what is covered in a class, but let's also talk about owner expectations. What do people usually want when they come to a class? Kate, you take the phone calls. Petra, you take the emails. What are people asking for, or what do they expect when they come to a class?
Well, it runs the gamut. It really does. Most of the time, the majority of the time, they have adolescent dogs.
Yes.
And they just don't even know what they want, but they can't keep living with the dog they have at that moment.
That's true. A couple months ago, when we came back from the first COVID shutdown, we had a class, and I actually asked the class, everyone whose dog is between 8 and 14 months old, raise your hand. And it was all but, I think, about 2 dogs.
That's most of the classes.
Yeah.
That way. And they're just so frustrated. So one of our talks is about what is adolescence and what to expect. And I touch on it in the puppy class so they have some preparation for what's going to happen.
Somebody last year, I think, asked me that. He said, why do you talk so much about adolescence? You talked about it a couple weeks ago. You brought it up last week. You talked about it again this week. Why do you talk about it so much? And I said, because more dogs are given up to shelters or rescues from normal adolescence than any other single thing. And so this is something that we talk about all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is normal. It's not something up with which you need to put, but it is normal. It's a stage they have to go through. So these sharing with others is part of the group class experience. So you can see, as again, it's not that your puppy is a devil spawn. It's normal, but you got to help them through it.
Do you think that most people expect that after a 6 or 7 or 8 week course, whatever the trainer has established, that the dog is fixed, finished, done?
Only if the trainer hasn't done a good job of raising their expectations. Right?
I mean, we say that at the end of our course is to let them know we give you the tools, so on, but they're not complete. It's not finished. Just because you did our course, it's not fixed. Keep going. And then we explain how we keep going. All our dogs are different ages, and we still teach them new stuff. They like to learn.
We do get the occasional. Do you remember how nonplussed we all were with this guy? He came with a bully breed, and I think he did 2 classes. And then he missed the next 2, and finally I just couldn't stand it, so I called him. I'm like, is there something going on? He's like, all I wanted was walking nicely on a leash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got that.
And I'm signed up for class, came to 2 sessions.
Down. No, don't need all of that. Just wanted him to walk that. I'm very, very happy. Thank you.
And the thing
and we were worth every penny, he said.
Okay.
Our class was worth every penny.
But the problem is his dog could have done so much more.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we didn't have a chance to really infect him with higher expectations.
Well, we had actually asked a graduate to come in and talk to him on week 2.
Yeah.
Who had a bully breed, who had done an excellent job with his, thinking the guy needed a little extra help. So we asked this previous student to come in, spend the hour with the guy.
Yeah. Motivate him,
and he did. And then the guy didn't come back.
No, he was just happy the dog walked nicely on a leash.
Yeah, that was his biggest goal.
Yeah.
He was willing to pay anything for that. Like, there's a lot more.
But our wind up for our basic classes is take a second, think back to week 1 and the difference you've made in your puppy dog in the last 6 weeks. Take that and multiply it by the years you have in the future to spend with your dog and keep training him. So that's our end-up message. Thank you for coming. Lovely. Keep doing it.
So I think one of the trainer's jobs then, so to speak, imagine quotes around the word job, is to make sure that the owner's expectations are realistic.
Yeah.
So
realistic and higher than what they think. It's amazing. Yeah. Oh, my dog can't do. We'll demo with our dogs. Oh, you'll see people mumbling, my dog won't be able to do that. My dog can't do that. Then we take their dog and we demo with their dog, and they're like, how'd you do that?
Well,
because your dog can do it.
With our English Shepherds, a lot of people think the black and white ones or the tricolor ones are border collies. Well, you have the smartest breed. Of course, your dog's going to be better.
Hold my beer. Let me get my terrier.
Yes. Yeah. And we've done that. Quill doesn't always demo for all the classes, but we've said, Kate, go get the terrier, because people don't have high expectations for the terriers like they might with a German Shepherd or a Doberman or a Border Collie or
if the labs, Finn and the others.
Yeah.
To see a lab appropriate weight working nicely. That's also fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a break for our second sponsor, and then when we come back, let's talk about owner responsibility in a group class. So hold on, we'll be right back.
We have another sponsor for our podcast, Pet Treater. Pet Treater is a subscription gift box that you can sign up for your dogs and or your cats. And it gives you a chance to surprise them on a monthly basis with interactive toys, treats, and other things like the one we got came with a bandana.
I recently received one for Willow. She loved it. She was so excited just me opening that box.
The bison treats, especially in this box, she really liked.
Lost their mind.
Yeah.
Lost her mind.
The nice thing about the box, too, is that it can be tailored to fit your pets. So if you've got a 50-pound dog, or you've got a cat, or you've got a dog and a cat, or if one of your pets has allergies, the box can be tailored to them. And nowadays, right now, while we're filming this with COVID, most of us are spending a lot more time with our pets. But that doesn't mean you can't add something better to it. New toys, new treats for training. And the subscription boxes vary. You can start as low as $15 a box. And then you and your pet can have fun opening it together and seeing what's in it.
And then if you're obsessed with sharing photos of your pets, as I am, as you can tell all over Facebook, you can connect with other animal lovers on the Pet Treater site.
So take a look at them. Go to pettreater.com. And if you do it now, you can use the coupon code DOGGY, dog, DOGGY, DOG, all one word. You use that coupon, you'll get 50% off on your first month of your subscription. So that's Pet Treater, PETTREATER, pettreater.com. Check them out.
50% off. That's a deal.
There you go.
Are you listening to this right now with a cell phone clenched between your teeth as you frantically flip pages on your paper calendars? Or are you a new breed of groomer, bred for speed and efficiency of movement? 123 Pet software automates your communications, doing the reminding, confirming, thanking, and marketing for you. 123 Pet centralizes your schedule, employees, clients, inventory, and more. 123 Pet is the business management software you need. Start minding your business today. Visit 123petsoftware.com.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hi, welcome back. So, we've talked about the class, how a group class works, what can be covered in a group class, depending on the training group or the trainer, owner's expectations and how to keep them real. And then now let's talk about owner responsibility, because coming to a class an hour a week is not all that it is.
And so I do the private training, and a lot of people like that. But the group classes they make people look around at the other dogs and go, whoops, I got to up my game.
There's a little competitiveness or a little embarrassment.
Or not wanting to be embarrassed.
Right.
It works both ways.
Right.
So hopefully they are more motivated than they just give up. But that's what we're trying to work for is, yeah, you can do it. Look at them over there. They can do it. You can do it. And then you get a class that supports each other. Oh, yeah, we were having that trouble last week. No, don't worry. Keep on it. You'll get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you hear that all the time amongst each other.
My first two dogs, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, my first two dogs that attended a class that I didn't teach were German Shepherds. And they were the ones that got me hooked on training. And then I started teaching classes, but then the next dog I got was a Papillon. I had never, ever trained a toy breed dog. He was very different from a German Shepherd. Although since he was raised with German Shepherds, he had no idea he was only 7 pounds and not 70 pounds. So even though I was teaching classes at the time, I went to another trainer to take my Papillon to training. And I went through puppy classes and basic obedience classes with the Papillon. And this trainer trained a little differently than I did, but that was good too. It was exposure to a different technique.
Yep.
And I actually had to finally go to a third technique for this Papillon because of who he was. Size, temperament, breed. But my expectations for the Papillon were that he would be the same as the German Shepherd. And the class trainer immediately told me, no, you will not expect that he be just like the German Shepherd, because he's not a German Shepherd. He doesn't have those working instincts, blah, 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 all this stuff. And he was 100% right. But of course, at the time, I was like 20, 21. And I didn't want to hear it at that point in time. But the owner responsibility part of the going to the class, which this trainer beat into me real quick, was I had to train my dog. I wasn't training my previous dogs. I wasn't training any future dogs that I might have. I was training this dog.
The dog in front of you.
The dog in front of you. And that became my homework. And I swear, that trainer told me that every week. Because,
you had different habits.
I had different habits. I had competed in obedience with those German Shepherds. I had done search and rescue with those German Shepherds. Those were two incredibly well-trained dogs.
And those were successful techniques.
And they were successful techniques for those dogs.
Exactly.
And they had done carting. I'd done all kinds of stuff with those dogs. Here I had this little 7-pound dog who had no working instincts whatsoever. He wanted to please me, but he wasn't a working dog.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest messages I got from that trainer was, I had to work with that dog. And it was my responsibility to that dog to work with that dog. It wasn't fair for me to treat that little dog like a German Shepherd. So, owner responsibility is vital. Not just to practice your exercises, but to learn who that dog is, to know who that dog is, and how to work with that dog.
And that's probably we come across a few of those people that compare this current dog to their previous one. That was perfect.
Well, this is my third golden retriever.
Or Newfoundland.
Or Newfoundland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's breed tendencies, sir, but everyone is an individual. You must adjust for your individual dog.
Right.
But you can do it. Yeah. It's fun teaching. You do have to. The part that's hard for me is telling somebody, this is not appropriate. Your dog is not ready for this. Either because they're too fearful or because they're too aggressive. I'm not throwing you out to the curb. We have other things you can do, but you can't be in this class. It's not safe for you, and you're not setting your dog up to succeed.
And that's very difficult because often that owner is disappointed, and that's often the Google review that we're terrible trainers, unless we can convince them to do something else. Like, yes, we'd like you to do private training. We're not asking you to do private training to get more money from you, but we're asking you to do private training because such and such.
You need a few more skills to keep your dog and every other dog safe.
Yeah. But it's disappointing, and when they're disappointed, then, not that a bad Google review is everything, but it's a shame when it comes out that way.
Disappointed and or embarrassed.
Yeah,
or
angry.
But when you see someone really love it and get into it, and it makes my heart feel good.
Yeah, it does.
My first dog in classes, Watashi, the German Shepherd, the one who destroyed my sofa, graduated first in his class, and I was hooked. That was 46 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's all she wrote.
Sometimes I think about, just the other night, graduated a class, and there was a dog that was right on the edge as to whether or not it should have stayed in class.
Yeah.
As it was dog aggressive, but you talked to her at the graduation. What did you say?
I did. I mean, and I said she was getting a diploma for the work she and her dog did. We saw a change, an improvement from her and her dog from day one to the end. But I also did give her with a warning that the skills here, you're good, you've learned, keep going, but be very cautious taking it out in public. She did mention she goes and walk with her husband. Her husband has to hold the dog. The dog is reactive to small.
And I think that's a good point. Training can help change some behavior. Training can hopefully give you more control, but it's not going to change who the dog is. It's not going to change the dog's temperament. Nothing's going to change that.
As far as working around other dogs, she started 500 yards behind everybody else in class. Mm-hmm. So she basically just got up to the start line. But that was still 500 yards of travel for her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And her dog.
I remember her first week class.
There was a lot
we had her over in the corner in the back.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of training her. There was a lot of habits. I worked a lot with her to break, to communicate better with their dog. She had to
it's always a balancing act between, I don't want to send a dog away that is potentially a dangerous dog that could go out there and cause damage in the world. I want to help them, but I also want to keep the class safe. So we're always trying to balance whether they can stay in class. Or if they can't, can we convince them to let us help them in another way?
Or the one owner that has a Ferrari.
Yeah.
You would call it a Ferrari.
Yeah. She was so frustrated with her Dobie mix. And I said, you need a break? She goes, yeah. He pulled her down to the ground.
Oh.
And he, too, would just go off when the dog walked by.
So I said, well, do you take a break? I took the leash. I was having a blast. The dog was like driving a Ferrari. Mm-hmm. I had to respond to him very, very quickly and so forth. But then he was going, oh, all right.
Well, horse owners would say she was overhorsed.
Yeah.
She had too much horse.
Yeah.
Too much horse.
Yeah.
Too much dog.
And I thought he was a blast.
He was a cool dog.
School dog.
When
he can rise to the occasion, actually, with him.
Right.
He's very smart, very strong, very young. But anyway, group classes.
All right. I hope we gave you a lot of information. If you've been attending a group class, just another view.
And one more thing.
Yes.
I love it when somebody calls and says, we'd like to bring a dog to your class. Can we come observe?
As long as you leave your dog at home, feel free to come and watch.
Yeah, we have no problem with that.
I have no problem with that. Any trainer who doesn't want to let you observe, go find another one.
Yeah. If you come and watch and see how the trainers work and see the relationship between the trainers and the dog owners in class, the relationship between the trainers and their own dogs when they're doing a demo. You went to a class, Kate, where the trainer's dog never came out of the crate.
Oh, it's worried. I was like, what? Okay, yeah.
So many excuses. And then how the trainers react if they're handling a student's dog. Now, if the student's dog throws a temper tantrum, that might be different than if the student's dog is cooperating. But you can see how it's handled. So, yeah.
And frankly, I'd rather have somebody come and watch the class and go, yeah, that's not quite what I was looking for. Great. No problem. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
There are other trainers.
We got students on our waiting list to get in.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we have somebody, Kate and I are doing private sessions with her, driving 2 hours away, coming down 2 hours because we came highly recommended.
Mm-hmm.
And then there wasn't anybody else she found that she liked, and she loves us, and everything's going very good. But
we've had students come from a distance.
We did.
Quite a few times.
Quite a few.
At times where I've gone, really? I don't know if I want to drive that long.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else near you? No.
North Hollywood's at least a 3-hour drive.
Yeah. National City, down near the Mexican border.
Yeah.
It's a 1 hour class. You're driving an hour and a half to us for a 1 hour class and then an hour and a half home. Wow. Thank you.
Yes, it is amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it for group classes. Coming up, the next 2 that we'll record in September, we're going to do one on board and train, the same questions that we asked for this and the same questions we asked for private training. And then we've had a listener request that we talk about small dog aggression and small dog reactivity, especially towards other dogs. So we're going to talk about that. And if you have something you'd like us to talk about, drop us an email. If you're on It's a Doggy Dog World, our email is up there. Or Google Kindred Spirits Dog Training, our website. You can contact us from our website and just say you're a listener to our podcast and could we talk about such and such.
And we are the Kindred Spirits Dog Training in California.
There is one in Tennessee or Kentucky?
And I think there might have been another one that jumped in Florida or something.
Oh, okay.
Plus, I got a call the other day that I answered with Kindred Spirits, and he goes, yes, do you have a certain kind of beer on sale? I think you have the wrong spirit, sir.
Oh, and then there's a Kindred Spirit Psychic.
That's right.
We haven't had a call from her lately, though.
I think they've been on COVID lockdown.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are in Vista.
Yeah, make sure you get the right ones.
Kindred Spirits in San Diego County.
There you go.
All right, that's it. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Having a rough day? Longing for the dog days of summer? Think your fun furry friend lives a dog's life? Well, find out everything you're begging to know as Pet Life Radio presents It's a Doggy Dog World with pet expert and award-winning author Liz Palaika. Every dog has his day, and you'll find out how to make your dog's day fun and rewarding. Every week, on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.